17 members and associates of the Hells Angels are facing criminal charges in a violent attack.
Federal agents allege the outlaws sold drugs, traded firearms, and engaged in insurance fraud and even tampered with government witnesses.
We have learned there is cell phone video as well as surveillance video of evidence in this attack.
The U.S. attorney characterized today's raids as historic, the largest federal bust on organized criminal gang activity.
Retaliation is common for crimes involving biker gangs. However, it could happen anywhere because of how interconnected gangs have become nationwide.
The 3-year investigation resulted in 42 federal indictments on a variety of charges, including racketeering, money laundering, drugs, gambling, insurance fraud, and extortion.
There's a bunch of bikers up here, and they're shooting guns and stuff. I need the police now.
But on foot going towards 2nd Street. Okay, we see.
Then you see a pack of Hells Angels going by, people are going to want to look. Next thing you know, cars. Because they're just staring at us and not paying attention to stop traffic.
If you wanted to break the law on an everyday norm, you should have joined a street gang. That's what they're known for. That's what they do. You're not allowed to steal cars on my block. We steal those cars.
I mean, it was so bad by us in Vegas. I was in the pool swimming, and the guys came back. Hey, Pee-wee, the cops are here. They want to talk to you. I said, well, go talk to them. Find out what they want. And they came back. They go, they want to talk to you.
Typically, if you leave the club, if you haven't been in for 10 years, you're automatically out back.
Got put out in 2006. Back in 2007, wound up going into Cannon. 2011. Came out of there. I had 4.5 years to walk off with zero support from that club.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today we got a lot to talk about. But first, we're going to talk about this guy and the plot he has to kill federal officials. Ralph DeLeo. He is in some deep shit, and he was just released from prison. Like, you can't make this up. Like, he was just released from prison. He was in a halfway house and he got arrested. Nobody knew why he got arrested, but now we know why. And we're going to get into that today. And we got other things to talk about. We're going to talk about the Hells Angels and another biker club. So this is insane. I want to show you this first, though. Check this out. Biker who identifies as a cyclist wins the Tour de France. For all you delusional people out there. Go check out at The Truth. It's pretty funny. So today, shout out to everyone that takes time to watch the show. Everett, what's good? How are you? So, Ralph DeLeo is in a bunch of shit right now. Mobster Ralph DeLeo plotted to kill federal officials who put him away, court documents show. So he was arrested. Somebody came forward, right? And told on this dude. This is in Boston, Mass. FBI agents allege Ralph DeLeo, former reputed street boss of the Colombo crime family, was arrested this month for plotting to kill at least 3 people who helped put him behind bars in 2012. According to new court documents filed, the Massachusetts U.S. Attorney's Office revealed the court documents that federal agents received a tip from a confidential source reporting that DeLeo was actively planning to kill 2 current and 1 former federal official. The federal officials were all involved in DeLeo's conviction more than a decade ago, according to court documents. As they first reported, DeLeo, 82 years old, was arrested on May 15th. But federal officials didn't publicly release details about his arrest until filing new court documents on Tuesday night. DeLeo's criminal history dates back decades, and the FBI alleges he served in the 1970s as an associate of the Patriarca crime family, which operated out of Providence, Rhode Island. In 2012, DeLeo was sentenced to more than 16 years in prison for racketeering, among other crimes. He got out of prison under supervised release in May of 2024, last year. Federal agents allege he's recently been planning to kill the people that put him away. The people that put him away were not publicly identified. The confidential source told agents DeLeo shared with him that an associate of La Cosa Nostra, or a mafia that obtained tools on his behalf, in which federal officials took to mean firearms. DeLeo was also seeking a silencer, according to court documents. DeLeo was allegedly asking around for personal information about the people he was targeting, including home addresses, names of immediate family members, according to court documents. Federal agents conducted a search warrant on him and his home earlier this month and found hard copy packs of personal information for multiple people, including 2 federal officials. The source told agents that he asked DeLeo about the information, and the aging mafioso told him that they were his retribution. The FBI told Molly Driscoll wrote in a sworn affidavit that DeLeo initially claimed he collected officials' personal information himself, but agents later determined he was lying. Specifically, law enforcement obtained text messages between DeLeo and a third party demonstrating that DeLeo asked the third party for information related to targeting individuals, Driscoll wrote. Court documents show that he was communicating with convicted felons, including people he was indicted on with a sweeping racketeering charge in 2009. Agents also recovered from his home a burglary kit, marijuana, and vials of steroids. He's a little too old to be taking steroids. And a handwritten note regarding silicone masks, according to court documents. The burglary kit contained tools, including a pry bar, a mini crowbar, bolt cutters, lock-picking kit. Federal officials allege DeLeo has shown a history of resentment towards people who convicted him. While in prison, DeLeo told confidential informant in 2014 that he was going to chop off the head of one of the officials who became the target of most of his recent kill plot. Prosecutors also detailed DeLeo's extensive criminal history over the past 6 decades, which they said started when he was convicted of multiple armed robberies, including other crimes, at 16 years old. DeLeo's entire life has been devoted to crime, the U.S. attorney said. They wrote a motion for his detention, filed Tuesday evening. His criminal record is riddled with violence spanning the course of decades, they added. He, just as aging, had no impact on his activity in the past. DeLeo's current advanced age has no bearing on his willingness or ability to continue engaging in criminal activity. DeLeo committed crimes in the 1970s, including armed robberies, attempted kidnappings, earning him a sentence of 25 to 40 years. But he ended up escaping custody and went on the run in Ohio, where he committed armed bank robbery and kidnapping of a bank manager, according to court documents. So listen, if he was sentenced to 40 years, how the hell did he get out of that? Come on. While still in Ohio, DeLeo committed the most gruesome offenses, kidnapping for hire a prominent physician within the intent to castrate him, but instead shooting and killing the victim when he resisted DeLeo's attempted abduction. So if he killed the dude, how the hell did he get out of prison? DeLeo was released early on a commuted sentence in 1997. He eventually rose to prominence in the Colombo crime syndicate, one of the 5 families in New York, according to FBI agents. He ran his own violent gang in the Boston area known as the DeLeo crew, according to prosecutors. DeLeo eventually became the reputed street boss of the Colombo crime family before he was indicted in 2009. According to federal agents, the prosecutors are now asking a federal judge to detain DeLeo for violating the terms of his supervised release. No new criminal cases had been filed against DeLeo in federal court as of Tuesday. DeLeo has spent his life committing violent crimes, they wrote. It appears that he intends to spend his sunset years doing the same. The seriousness of the most recent threats, DeLeo's long and violent criminal record, and his history of attempting to flee from custody all led to one conclusion: DeLeo must be detained. Defense attorneys for DeLeo have asked that he be released from the detention because he is suffering from multiple health problems, including issues they will require oral surgery. The attorneys also argue in court documents that he isn't receiving medical attention he needs at Wyatt Detention Facility in Central Falls. He should be transferred to a federal prison. DeLeo's detention hearing is scheduled for 9:30 on Thursday. That's today. So he will be going back to court, and we'll see what happens with this aging mobster that is up to all this craziness. What do you guys think of this situation? Dude's insane. So, we got other things to talk about. So, I got a video for you guys today. Let's check this video out and then we'll talk about it. Check it out.
Of a museum in the Netherlands and stole 4 ancient artifacts, including an approximately 2,500-year-old gold helmet. The heist took place at Drent's Museum in Assen during the early hours of the morning, according to Dutch police. The museum says the stolen pieces include a 5th century BC gold helmet and 3 gold bracelets dating from around 50 BC. The police say no injuries were reported, no arrests have been made so far, and that they are working with Interpol to investigate.
All right, so you guys heard that. Who do you think did that situation? Hungover closer, what's going on? Who do you think blew up the museum and stole this, what was it, 450-year-old before Christ helmet? Who do you think did that? Well, they know, because the people have been caught. They are people associated with this club. Who are the hardliners? Their patch looks quite familiar, doesn't it? It looks like a knockoff from the Hells Angels, don't it? If you guess that, then you are right. So the hardliners are a motorcycle club created by former leaders of the Hells Angels. They banned the Hells Angels in this country, and they created this club called the Hardliners. They accept African American members. They adapted a patch that looks quite familiar, doesn't it? So let's talk about who got caught for this situation. So the assignment for an art robbery at the Dents Museum have come from Romania. The Headliners, a motorcycle club founded in the Netherlands in 2019 in prison by former leaders of the Hells Angels, a criminal organization banned by the court, is reported to have been involved in the robbery of the treasure from the Drent's Museum, according to the news. According to sources from the investigation, gang members recruited thieves, and the robbery was ordered by figures in the Romania's underworld. The Headliners Motorcycle Club was founded in prison in 2019 by former leaders of the already banned motorcycle club, the Hells Angels. Last year, the Headliners were also banned by a decision in the court, which found that within this club, crimes are promoted, facilitated, and ordered. Sources close to the investigation say that in this case of this robbery at the Drent's Museum, the Headliners would have been involved by recruiting the thieves. They were promised 15,000 euros per person, according to sources. One of the suspects may have even been a member of the Headliners Motorcycle Club. During the robbery, the golden helmet and 3 bracelets were stolen. Sources close to the investigation are convinced that the art's objects are still intact. Clues show that the golden helmet was not melted down. It is probably somewhere in the Hellingward, wrapped in a towel, sources said. Prosecutors did not give other details. An extremely sensitive matter, said the source, who added, if there is talk or an order coming from a Romanian who would have ordered this, it could immediately trigger a diplomatic incident. Meanwhile, undercover investigators in the Netherlands posted as collectors to find out where the treasure that was stolen from the museum is. So they're looking for it. Because, I mean, there's a huge underworld that deals in stolen art and all kinds of things like that. They made an offer of almost €500,000 for the helmet and the stolen bracelets. This is how they found out that they were hidden and have not been sold or melted down. The thieves were committed in January when thieves armed with explosives entered the Drent's Museum. They broke windows to steal the helmet and 3 gold bracelets. They had been lent to the Romanian National Museum of Art. Holy shit. So this helmet and the bracelets were lent to the museum, and people came in there and stole it. The director of the Institute of Ernest was dismissed in the wake of the thief. Whatever the hell that means. So they're looking for this helmet and those bracelets. They're worth a lot of money. I mean, this isn't no cheap thing. This is like a lot of money, millions of dollars. It's a pretty wild situation. So in other news, we have a suspect was arrested for a shooting. Suspect is charged after a dispute at a food truck at motorcycle club leads to Birmingham shooting death. A suspect has been charged in the shooting death of Birmingham man apparently stems from a dispute over money. Timothy Antonio Moore, 30 years old, is charged with murder in the Sunday killing of 31-year-old Terrence Leon Bratton. Birmingham West precinct officers took Moore into custody shortly after the deadly shooting when they spotted him fleeing on a motorcycle at high rate of speeds, officers said. The shooting happened around 11:53 p.m. Sunday at the 2700 block of 30th Street in Ensley. Officers responded to the scene and found Brenton critically wounded. He was taken to the UAB hospital where he was pronounced dead while in surgery at 1:08 a.m. Sunday. Freeman said Brenton and a close friend were visiting a food truck that was parked at a motorcycle club when he was approached by two men. Moore and the other man confronted Brenton about owing them money. The victim then walked away from the confrontation, and that's when shots were fired, striking him, Friedman said. Officers were nearby when the shots rang out, and they quickly were able to gather the suspect's description. When officers spotted the fleeing motorcyclist, a short chase ensued. Moore, Friedman said, he lost control of his motorcycle at the intersection of Arion Drive and Valley Road in Fairfield, where he was taken into custody. Moore will be held without bond in Jackson County Jail. So I don't know. I don't think this he might be a part of a club, but I don't want to speculate. I know Black Dragon was doing a show about that whole situation. Raven, what's going on? How are you? Lindsay, what's good? Thank you for joining me. Thank you guys all for the birthday wishes yesterday. I really appreciate it. I don't feel any different. I just feel a little older. Thomas, what's good? Thomas Vestergaard, what's going on, man? Shout out to you. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you. You guys are all great. Make sure you check out the Patreon. We got new content coming. I'm going to be uploading a whole bunch of content right when I get off this stream. I got a lot of new stuff for the members. We're going to be dropping some content for the members only, for the Patreon. Tommy, what's going on? Thank you for joining me today. So as I was saying yesterday, another suspect in that Pagan situation has pleaded guilty. They just go like dominoes. Don't. They're just pleading out one after another. There's also a situation going on with the Iron Wings Motorcycle Club. I think they're back in court. A lot of those articles, they want you to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? And that ain't happening. So this is the article from yesterday about the Pagans. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling 46. Says a motorcycle club member pleads guilty for his involvement in armed assault, Kansas City, Missouri. This article was yesterday. A Pagans motorcycle club member pleaded guilty Tuesday in the U.S. District Court as his part in an armed assault and attempted armed assault against rival motorcycle clubs. Jeremiah Hahn also goes by Pass Out, 42 years old, of Cameron, Missouri, pleaded guilty to one count of assault with a dangerous weapon and aid of racketeering. What does this mean for the motorcycle club? I think it's a very bad look because they're openly admitting that they were all part of this criminal organization, which it's not that. They're motorcycle clubs. So I don't understand. These people are like admitting that they're part of some criminal organization when they're not. Maybe that's how they saw it. Maybe. I mean, you don't know what people are thinking, but it's a motorcycle club. If there's people in a church that commit a crime, does that mean they're in a criminal organization just because they're all a part of a church? No, it doesn't mean that. I mean, if they're operating together, maybe they're a part of their own little organization, but just because they're members in a club doesn't mean, yeah, they don't give them a choice. The law doesn't give them a choice. No, they just hit them with this. But I mean, they have a choice whether they're gonna plead guilty or not, right? And these people are openly pleading guilty. I mean, they could take it to trial and probably get life in prison. They're all going to get about 20 years, I'm pretty sure. So the charges stem from May 30th, 2022 incident where Han and other pagan members and their support club members assaulted a lone member of a rival motorcycle club at a business in Green Valley, Missouri. Han used his fists and an axe handle during the assault, according to court documents. In a later incident, September 3rd, 2022, in Topeka, Kansas, Han and other members planned to carry out a revenge attack on another rival motorcycle club. A plan was in place to use axe handles or a gun on one of the rival members. A rival member was spotted in a hotel parking lot once arriving in Topeka. Han was armed with a gun and prepared to shoot the person, but a dispute happened among the members before returning to the Kansas City area, according to the press release. So they got into an argument. One of the people were probably like, "Don't do that. What are you doing?" And they get into an argument. I'm not going to speculate on what they were arguing about, but you know, they were probably arguing about, "Don't do it, do it." You know how it goes. So it says Han and the other present members were awarded patches for participating in the events. And let me make this clear too. If these clubs, right, these people in these clubs are committing these crimes, they're not moving as a whole. Like the whole pagan nation isn't behind these people. I think that's where law enforcement is getting it misconstrued. Like they don't condone this type of shit. They don't have these people join to commit these crimes. And if these people are committing crimes like that, they represent the whole club. That's why it makes them look really bad. You know what I'm saying? Just because there's bad apples in the bunch doesn't make the whole group. Doesn't make them all bad. Doesn't make them all criminals. And people got to understand that. They're just people. So a trooper in Missouri State Highway Patrol stopped Han for speeding on May 3rd, 2023 on a Highway 36 in DeKalb County, Missouri. Han tried to flee at first, but later stopped. After Han's arrest, troopers found a Smith & Wesson Model MP Shield 40 caliber semi-automatic in his possession. Han, who had multiple felony convictions, stated that he had stolen the gun from a member of a rival's St. Joseph's motorcycle club. So he stole the gun from a rival motorcycle club member. The St. Joseph's Motorcycle Club? I've never heard of them. Let me check who the hell they are. I don't know if this is them. But he said he stole the gun. Like he admitted he stole the gun. Carney's Ride, what's going on? awarded special patches. It's crazy, man. Han is subject to sentencing of up to 20 years in prison without parole under federal statutes. The defendant's sentencing will be based on an advisory sentencing guideline and other statutory factors. Sentencing hearing will be set after the pre-sentencing investigation by U.S. Probation Office. It's pretty wild. This is crazy. A dad wanted a baby boy. He then learned his wife was pregnant with their third girl, and he did the unthinkable. Crazy. Drew Garner, 33, stabbed his wife Samantha, 29, to death on September 2024 at their home in New York while she was 5 months pregnant with their third daughter. The judge sentenced him to 30 years in prison after Samantha's father read the victim impact statement. 30 years in prison? I mean, I got other things you could have did with him. After her father read a victim impact statement saying that Garner killed his wife because he wanted a boy. He stabbed his daughters 6 and 9 at the same night and to spare the girls from trauma of having to testify at trial. Prosecutors agreed to let him plead guilty to lesser charges. The New York man accused of murdering his pregnant wife and stabbing their 2 daughters was sentenced for his crimes this week. He will serve 30 years in prison, followed by 15 years supervised release after entering a guilty plea to charges of first-degree manslaughter. What? Like, this is the type of shit I don't understand. 2 counts of first-degree assault in a deal with prosecutors. Them prosecutors should be thrown in prison. There was just one victim impact statement read in court prior to sentencing. It came from Garner's former father-in-law, who said that his daughter Samantha was killed by her husband because he wanted a boy. Samantha, who was just 29 years old and 5 months pregnant when her husband brutally stabbed her to death, had learned at the time that the couple was having their third child would also be a girl. Garner's father-in-law said in the court that his 2 granddaughters now have a new father after he adopted the girls. I'm their father now, he said in court. I will protect them. Good. And I hope that really hurt him when he said that. Police arrested Garner on September 5th, 2024, after responding to reports of a domestic dispute at the home in Centerville, according to New York State Police. Man, he got off way too easy. New York prisoners are going to handle him when he goes to prison. Who is Ralph DeLeo? He is a former street boss of the Colombo crime family, and he plotted to kill federal officials. He was out on supervised release. And I don't know. There's a possibility he could beat these charges because they're coming from a confidential informant who just said that, he gathered it's not illegal to gather information about people, you know? You can gather information about anyone in the world you want. Just because the people that he had information on are the ones that put him in prison, it's like you can't hold him in prison for that. If you guys are just getting here, Joe Blunts, what's going on? Raven, how are you? Thank you for joining me, Joe. If you guys are just joining, Ralph DeLeo, He plotted to kill federal officials who put him away, court documents show. In Boston, FBI agents allege that Ralph DeLeo, former reputed street boss of the Colombo crime family, was arrested this month for plotting to kill at least 3 people who helped put him behind bars in 2012. According to a new file documents, Massachusetts U.S. Attorney's Office revealed in court documents that federal agents received a tip from a confidential source reporting that DeLeo is actively planning to kill 2 current and 1 former federal official. The federal officials were involved in DeLeo's conviction more than a decade ago, according to court documents. DeLeo, 82 years old, was arrested on May 15th. But federal officials didn't publicly release the details about his arrest until filing new court documents Tuesday night. He doesn't even have new charges against him. All they did was throw him in prison for violating his supervised release. They didn't hit him with more charges. Tuesday night, DeLeo's criminal history dates back decades after the FBI alleged he served in 1970s as an associate for the Patriarca crime family that operated out of Providence, Rhode Island. In 2012, DeLeo was sentenced to more than 16 years in prison for racketeering, amongst other crimes. He got out of prison on supervised release on May 2024, and federal agents allege he's recently been planning to kill the people that put him away. The people are not publicly identified. The confidential source told agents DeLeo shared with him that an associate of La Cosa Nostra or the Mafia had obtained tools on his behalf, which federal officials took to mean firearms. DeLeo was also seeking a silencer, according to court documents. DeLeo was allegedly asking around for personal information about people he was targeting, including home addresses, names of immediate family members. So federal agents conducted a search warrant on him and his home earlier this month and found hard copy packets of personal information for multiple people. That's not illegal, including 2 federal officials. That's not illegal either. The source told agents that he asked DeLeo about the information, and the aging mafioso told him they were his retribution. FBI agent Molly Driscoll wrote in a sworn affidavit that DeLeo initially claimed he collected the officials' personal information himself, but agents later determined he was lying. Specifically, law enforcement obtained text messages between DeLeo and a third party demonstrating that DeLeo asked the third party for the information related to targeting individuals. Court documents show that he was communicating with convicted felons, including people he'd been indicted before on the sweeping racketeering charge in 2019 or 2009. Agents also recovered from his home a burglary kit, marijuana, and vials of steroids. See, they could have arrested him on that type of shit, on the weed and the steroids, probably. But I don't know about a burglary kit. How many people don't have bolt cutters in their house? It's not illegal to have bolt cutters. It's not illegal to have a screwdriver. It's not illegal to have a pry bar or a lockpicking kit. It's not illegal for that type of shit. So, I mean, they sell it on fucking Amazon. They sell it on TikTok Shop. So, the burglary kit contained tools like pry bars. Oh, that's not illegal. A mini crowbar. That's not illegal either. Bolt cutters. Not illegal. Lockpicking kit. Not illegal. Federal officials allege DeLeo has shown a history of resentment towards people who convicted him. Yeah, I would too. Wouldn't you hold resentment towards people that put you in prison for 12 years or longer? I would too. While in prison, DeLeo told a confidential informant in 2014 that he was going to chop off the head of the federal official who became a target in the most recent kill plot. I don't know about all this because confidential informants lie their asses off. They're trying to get out of some trouble, so they're going to throw people under the bus. Prosecutors also detailed DeLeo's extensive criminal history over the past 6 decades, which says started when he was convicted of multiple armed robberies and other crimes at 16 years old. DeLeo's entire life has been devoted to crime. Assistant U.S. attorney, they wrote a motion for detention filed Tuesday evening. His criminal record is riddled with violence spanning the course of decades, they added. Just as aging had no impact on his activity in the past, DeLeo's current advanced age has no bearing on his willingness or ability to continue engaging in criminal activity. DeLeo committed crimes in the 1970s, including armed robberies, attempted kidnappings, to earn him a sentence of 25 to 40 years, but he ended up escaping custody and went on the run in Ohio, where he committed armed bank robbery and kidnapped a bank manager, according to court documents. While still in Ohio, DeLeo committed the most gruesome offense, kidnapping for hire a prominent physician with the intent to castrate him, but instead shooting and killing the victim when he resisted DeLeo's attempted abduction, prosecutors wrote. DeLeo was released early on a commuted sentence in 1997, and he eventually rose to prominence in the Colombo crime syndicate, one of the 5 families in New York, according to FBI agents. He ran his own violent gang in Boston area known as the DeLeo Crew, according to prosecutors. There's a bunch of other people in prison that were around him too. DeLeo eventually became the reputed street boss of the Colombo family before being indicted in 2009. But he wasn't the boss for the whole family. You know what I'm saying? He was just a boss for like probably the area he was in. DeLeo spent most of his life committing violent crimes. They wrote it appears he intended to spend his sunset years doing the same. The seriousness and most recent threats, DeLeo's long and violent criminal record, his history of attempting to flee from custody, all led to one conclusion: DeLeo must be detained. Defense attorneys for DeLeo have asked for him to be released from detention because he is suffering multiple health problems, including issues that will require him to have oral surgery. The attorneys also argued in court documents that he isn't receiving medical attention he needs from the Wyatt Detention Facility in Central Falls. He should be transferred to a federal prison. So he must be in a county jail or something, because I'm pretty sure they can keep federal inmates in a state county jail. DeLeo's detention hearing is scheduled for 9:30 a.m. this morning. So we will find out what happened with Ralph DeLeo later today, and I'll post it on the community page and let you guys know what happened. But I appreciate all you guys. Thank you for joining me today. There's a lot of content. I'm going to be uploading some popcorn. Popcorn is up next. And then we got Boston 2%. That one's going to be a really good one. You guys don't want to miss these interviews. They're really good. I'm going to upload the full popcorn interview. You guys can check it out. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this show. And thank you so much for the birthday wishes. It's very much appreciated. If you want to help out the show and donate, you can hit up the Cash App at Chatting with Stacks. Every dollar goes back into the content. And if you want to be a guest on the show, just hit up my email, BillStacks2021. If you like this show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like this show, too fucking bad. Start your own podcast. I appreciate all you guys. And remember, don't be a bitch.
And all new at 5, a major organized crime bust. 23 people under arrest now accused of stealing guns and cash.
Today, police revealed 4 organized crime groups are wreaking havoc.
From aggravated robbery to kidnapping, burglary, and more. Let's take a look at this. New pictures from court documents in this case. These are a few of the people who have been charged. And investigators say the money, tens of thousands of dollars, is all stolen.